flourished in the last 6 months relative to the autocracies, but very interesting. Actually, the whole boost was from the people in the top quartile of the population. That the mass class divide on trust in institutions has become epic. There's a 34-point gap in the UK, for instance. Never seen something like that. Also in Germany, in France, in the US, in Japan, over 20 points. And what that means is the people at the bottom are feeling inflation. They're feeling, I'm not crazy about the way the economy is looking, so maybe there's going to be a recession, and I'm afraid for my job.
What was interesting was that CEOs get a much bigger boost this year than I think we've seen in many previous years. Why do you think workers, employees are much happier with their bosses at the moment?
There's a lot of trust in business. Trust is local, trust is in my company, and CEOs have actually performed well, not just on running their business, but also getting involved in societal issues, sustainability in Glasgow, diversity and inclusion. But now the new third ball that they have to juggle is geopolitics, because there's a huge expectation of companies to get out of Russia. If you got out of Russia, you got a 31-point jump in trust. If you stayed in, 38-point drop in trust. So all of a sudden, geopolitics and also repressive governments and what are you doing in human rights and supply chain. So I don't know how much more business can take on its plate.
Richard, I'll come into the bigger issues where CEOs can lead or not in those environments in the moment. But I'm not necessarily buying this great burst of trust in CEOs. I think you've got two charts, and I would imagine it's a relative trade, i.e. the CEOs and the corporations, the trust is there, maybe slightly on the wane, but for government, it's gone through the floor as well. So I don't necessarily believe there's a build-up in trust in corporates. I just think we are more fed up with our masters and leaders politically than we have been. I mean, look at the promises from 2 administrations in a row now about draining the swamp, about making it less polarised. It's failed so far. It's as polarised as ever. The UK, Brexit was supposed to promise all kinds of goods. They haven't come through yet. And on the continent, people are very concerned as well.
I think, again, this expectation that business is going to step into the void left by government, that, in fact, business is 50 points more competent than government. That's a massive delta. And, again, that CEOs somehow are enabled by the support of consumers who say, look, I'm a belief-driven buyer. 50% of people say, I'm only going to buy or boycott based on what you did in Russia. Mm-hmm. Similarly, big boost in employee loyalty and advocacy if, in fact, you got out of Russia. So, again, they're looking to the companies to lead because the other institutions can't.
OK, let's go to the backdrop and then add that to